Okay. Okay, it's serious.
All right, it's official. It's official. François, bonjour. Combien allez-vous?
Good. What's up? ¿Cómo estás?
Another day in paradise. ¿Cómo estás? Muy bien, muy bien. David, ¿qué dice David en España?
Hola. Hello, everyone. Doing well here. Bien, bien por
Edwin,
aquí.
¿qué dice, parcero? ¿Cómo está Bogotá? ¿Cómo está Tabogo? ¿Está sin cámara o qué? Vistas y...
Ando por acá en Cali.
Ah, sí. Ah,
Para la
bueno,
tierra
parcero.
tuya. Sí,
Listo.
sí, por acá. Cubriendo un evento, pero ya
Ah, bueno.
día de finalización.
¿Y Avanto qué dice?
¿Cómo
¿Cómo
va
está
todo bien?
Perú?
¿Se te apagó? Aquí para conectar.
O sea, Avanto por ahí anda, pero no da cara. ¿Qué dice Mario Sánchez? ¿Bien o qué, parcero?
Todo bien, parcero, todo bien. Bien ocupado, pero bien, sobreviviendo.
Ah, está bien. Ah, don Mario. No, hay que decirle ya don Mario, ¿no? Puta, me olvidaba. Me disculpa, me disculpa. Y Francisco, ¿qué dice Francisco?
¿Qué tal, parceros? ¿Cómo están? Pues aquí recuperándonos después del Cisco Live.
Disco Live, ¿no? Estabas a cargo de la red, ¿no?
Sí, en parte éramos un grupo grande y y me tocó la parte de Wi-Fi 7, entonces espero poder platicarles el próximo el próximo viernes acerca de
El
eso.
próximo viernes, entonces vamos a tener recuento de uno de los encargados de Cisco Live. Aquí por encimita, ¿cuántos apps tenían?
116 para Wi-Fi
100
7 nada más.
116 apps en Wi-Fi 7.
9176 D1s.
Por aquí me llegó, me hicieron llegar un app.
El AP gigantote que prácticamente un bebé de tamaño. El Stadium 8 gigas.
¿Esto?
A ver, vamos a ver.
Es 91. Que necesito ojos ya. El número está muy chiquito. 9172.
Ah, yeah, that's the 2x2.
2x2, listo. Sí, me lo hizo llegar el Víctor. Entonces, tengo que configurarlo. Se reclama en Meraki, ¿no? En el dashboard.
Y sí, el primer punto es busca Meraki Dashboard, pero hay un fast offline migration para hacerlo Catalyst o on-prem. Podemos platicar
No.
también.
Después sí, pero yo creo que lo va a reclamar en la de Meraki. Muy bien. Listo. All right, let's switch. ¿Cómo está tu español, François?
Ya llegaré a la casa a trabajar.
Poco a poco.
Yeah, so I actually understood everything you guys said, so I was happy about that.
Yeah,
But,
muy bien.
So back in school, I took Espanol, but I wasn't good at it. So I still remember a few things from it, and then a lot of it is close to French enough that I can understand some of it. But I'm good at understanding it right now. I'm not good at speaking it, so that's where I'm at with my Spanish right now.
Basically, we have to be careful what we say.
Yeah, don't talk bullshit about François because he'll understand it.
You gotta come over to these meetings, Francois.
That's what I was thinking. I should just come and listen.
Yeah.
I'm joining
So just
every week, man.
So okay, François, you heard of Tesos, and we've done, this is session 265. Sometimes we have it in English, most of the times in Spanish. But just to give you kind of like an overview, we started meeting during COVID that we couldn't we were all in Zoom and meets and stuff. So we just started meeting and talking about stuff like how's your week, how's confinement, how's everything, and then it started evolving into, hey, I have this problem this week, I don't know how to resolve, and then somebody else would pitch in and say, oh, here's what I did, I had that same issue, or just talking, and we even had sessions where people live from a site call me, it's like, hey, I have problems with this Cisco network and Sonos speakers and I need help. And I say, well, I don't know anything about Sonos or Cisco, so let me create a session really quick. I send it out to a group And within minutes, we had guys connecting and pitching and saying, hey, you know, we should do this, we should do that, try this, check there, check that, on site. Like not even the tech will give you that quick response. And the thing is, you know very well, it's hard to be experts at everything. So there were some guys that were like experts at Aruba, and then they will come and pitch in with property talking about what they knew best. And then other guys, the Cisco guys, and then we even had guys that they were just on servers and switching and routing. It's just like a group of guys that we just do. So Luis is from Dominican Republic. He lives in Sarasota.
Yeah.
There where you are still.
Nice.
Yeah. David is in Spain. Then and from Spain. Then Mario, he's from Mexico, lives here in the US. Mark Houts is the Mexico, is the Puebla.
Yeah, I was with Mark last week.
Yeah, weren't you in that
We were
Misfits?
hanging out last week.
Is that Misfits?
Yeah.
And then Alex, he's from Ukraine, but habla español. He's in Spain right now in Valencia. Speaking of Valencia, we're going to have a WLPC in Valencia in September. Just a couple-day conference and 3-day, just one boot camp. It's a small group, 30 people or 40. We'll get together and just learn and share and have fun. Edwin, he's from Medellin, Colombia, and he's in Bogota right now. He works for Ruckus. Edwin, I met in WLPC Medellin. He was my Uber driver. And then we kind of clicked and say, hey, you know, if you want to work with technology, we can. And he started coming to the sessions. And then he took a CWNA in Mexico. And then now he's working for Sama Wi-Fi.
What a story.
In Mexico.
From Uber to CWNE.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what, you know, spreading knowledge and making community. Francisco, he's from Mexico, but you are here in Texas, right? Francisco, where are you at?
No, in the warm and sunny state of Minnesota.
Oh, man, nice and warm. Yeah. And then, but he works at Cisco, and he was in charge of the Wi-Fi at Cisco Live last week or the week before. So he's going to be next week. He's going to be telling us, kind of like coming in and sharing what he can share about his experience planning, deploying, maintaining, supporting the whole event, Cisco Live.
Okay.
So, and then we have Gerardo. Gerardo, ¿de dónde está? And then
en Monterrey.
Monterrey, he's in Mexico. Yeah. And then José Abanto, he's from Peru. He's in Lima. And Remy está en México también, ¿no? So,
es correcto, Fernie, en México.
Yeah, Mexico, lindo y querido.
Correcto.
And this is about it. This we just, you know, meet and talk. And the reason why I invited François today, I mean, we've been Ekahau instructors, and he's taught a lot of classes for us at WLPC. Big member of the community. I don't know if you're familiar with mcsindex.com, but he's the one who, you know, put that together. And now you were on the wireless, what's that podcast Mr. Parsons has? The Heavy Wireless. Heavy Wireless talking about it. So decided to invite him over and share with us about that client database. So where do you want to start? What do you want to tell us? Or what's your story, François? Now,
yeah, I thought I would just give you the backstory of how everything started, and then we can talk about maybe the future a little bit of what I'm thinking.
Okay.
And you
yeah,
guys can
perfect.
give your feedback.
Beautiful. Yes.
On that. So it started. I don't remember when it started, but I want to say maybe 2018. And it started because so actually Keith had this PDF. Remember, Keith Ferner, we were using that PDF with, you know, we had, I believe we had Wi-Fi 4, Wi-Fi 5, but then Wi-Fi 6 was coming out, and we needed like an update with all of the Wi-Fi 6 data rates. But the way, you know, the data rates are calculated with Wi-Fi 6 was a little different. So I was like, okay, let me just figure out the math, and then do an updated MCS table. And so that's kind of where it started. And then what I did is I started to look at the AX draft document, because the detail, if you drill deep enough into the document, they detail actually how the data rates are calculated. And it's based on, you know, the number of subcarriers and how many of them carry data, and then the modulation and the coding scheme and all of this. And so based on that, it took me about 1 day to figure out the math and do like an Excel sheet that would just give me the numbers. And then it took me another day to do the colors and the formatting. So that was fun at the beginning. It took me as much time to do the math, and it took me to do the formatting. So it's either telling you that the formatting is a pain, or it's telling you that the math is not as hard as what we think it is. Which it's a little bit of both, I would say.
Yeah. And both require time and effort and dedication, and it's not something you're getting paid for. It's something you have to kind of like do on top of everything you have to do. So we appreciate that, because that helps the entire community. It's not something that just helps, you know, a few here, a few there. It's like everybody, and it's not, doesn't have a brand on it, so it's not like bound to, hey, put your information here and then I'll give you the tables. Like, no, here it is. So I use it in class all the time. We use it in troubleshooting all the time. So it's a great tool. So the math, I'm sure, got even more complicated now with Wi-Fi 7, isn't it?
Yeah, let me actually show you.
Sure.
I'm gonna share my screen. So this blog post is one I did originally, and then in the blog post I actually go through, so it's dated from 2019. We can see it here. And so what I did there is I would kind of detail the math of how everything, and all of these acronyms, they're the one used in the standards. Don't blame me for the acronyms. The BPSCS. But yeah, what I was doing is I was kind of breaking everything down, partly to understand it, partly to also calculate all of the different data rates, because that's one thing the standard doesn't give you. The standard doesn't give you all of the data rates. It just tell you which variables they are and then how to come up with them. And then I would kind of do like an example. If you have like 80 megahertz wide channel, 2 spacious stream, symbol duration and whatever, then it will give you that data rate.
Okay.
So
now,
the math is
now that I got you here, if you go back to the original table, there were some fields in the table that were blank. Can you remind us why?
Yes. So let me actually go to the side. So yeah, you're talking about these ones?
Yes.
So these fields are blank, and we have a couple of them for, and I believe it's only for AC. And the reason why is because sometimes when you use, depending on the modulation and depending on the coding scheme, the math doesn't work with the data rate. Like we're the combination of the modulation scheme, the coding scheme, and number of data subcarrier doesn't allow us to actually calculate the data rates. So it's because it's mainly because of the error coding function. So we're not able to make it work with some modulations, some coding, a combination, I should say, of the modulation, coding, and number of subcarriers.
Okay. David, looks like you got a question.
But then those modulation code schemes are existing, but you cannot calculate on that chart. Then is what you mean, or did I understand?
So the way the data rate is calculated is based on the coding rate, the data rate, and the number of subcarriers, data subcarriers, and the way they do the encoding doesn't work for some combinations. That's what I understood. Yeah, there is out there's a video from, maybe one of you guys can find it on YouTube. There's a video from Jerome Henry from Cisco that explains those missing data rates. So if you search for like missing 802.11 AC data rates, Jerome Henry, maybe you'll find it.
Okay, in the chat. Perfect.
So he goes into, actually his video is good because he goes into details of how the encoding works. So the 5, 6, or the half, whatever, he goes over how it works. So it's quite interesting, just generally speaking.
Okay. So now, Francois, this table is great because it shows what in the standard is possible.
Yeah.
And this is what marketing people love, huh? They use whatever the highest number it is. That's what they say. We can do this. 1.6 gigabits for what was it, AX or AC? I don't know. It was just
Yeah.
crazy numbers out there. So is this from the point of view of APs or clients, or just any radio that can comply with the standard will be able to use some of these speeds?
Yeah, so what I did when I built it is I just stick to whatever the standard was talking about, because I wanted to have like a source or a reference, even though it's not what we'll see in the real world. But if you go on the website, you have this full MCS table, and this shows you all of the data rates supported by the standards, even though I need to update it because a 16 special stream is out of the standards now. So they went back.
Oh, it is out?
Yeah, it's out. Yeah. So they went back to 8. So I should remove all of the 16 special stream. But I just wanted to have like a reference of everything that's defined in the standards. And then we created that real world MCS table, which is more data rate that we could expect to see in the real world based on the device capabilities. And here we've kind of integrated both the APs and the clients. Most clients nowadays, they are 2 spatial streams. So they will be more into these sections. You can have APs that support 4x4. So if you do like point to point between 2 4x4s, you could expect to get these data rates, for instance. But I would say that in the real world, all the data rates you're going to see from Wi-Fi 4 to Wi-Fi 7 will be in this table.
Okay.
Yeah.
Beautiful. And speaking of clients, speaking of capabilities of clients, capabilities of APs, I think that's one of the big struggles we have in the industry, is that you get these numbers and then we're always looking at the capabilities of the APs, and it's great. But then when it comes to real life, we have to look at the capabilities of the clients.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that takes us into the next phase, huh?
Yeah. Yeah. For the client, it's always like a struggle, because we need to understand the capabilities of the client. But if you want to understand the data rate supported by a Wi-Fi device, any Wi-Fi device, a client or an AP, you need to understand, the version of Wi-Fi they support. You then need to understand how many special stream they can support. And then you need to understand the channel width that they support. And when you look at data sheets of client devices, they don't always tell us all of these information. Sometimes they do, but not always.
Hardly ever.
Yeah. And then we also have the problem of clients behaving differently from what they're telling us they support. So it's like buying a car, and then on the the car dealership is telling you, oh, my car can go that far, it's that fast, and you can carry 7 people. And then when you actually buy it, it's like, oh no, it's actually there's only 5 seat belts.
Only 5 seats. Like, well, if you sit 2 in the back Mexican style, then put them on top of the roof. Colombian style.
So it's kind of like sometimes we have these these behaviors in the field.
And not too long ago we did some work on some phones that when I captured the association frame, it showed that it only did Uni 1 and Uni 2.
Wow.
I mean, Uni 1 and Uni 3. And then we were using the application inside the phone that was like on channel 100, and I connected it to an AP in channel 100 just fine. It's like, yeah. And it was transferring data like, oh, you can do Uni 2 and Uni 2 extended. But the association frame, it said that I only do Uni 1 and Uni 3. That's it.
Yeah. And I don't like, someone asked me recently, like, why do client devices lie? And like for this, like in this case, I don't know why the client would lie, because my answer to them was, the first reason why the client would lie is sometimes they adjust their association request based on the beacon frame. So if the AP says, I cannot do Wi-Fi 7, and the client does Wi-Fi 7 but doesn't need Wi-Fi 7, it might say back to the AP, I don't do Wi-Fi 7 either. And that would be okay, right? Or, let's say you have, I don't know, more special stream than the AP, you might just advertise what the AP does because it will work. And then I was also saying that sometimes there's a difference between the Wi-Fi capabilities of the NIC and what the driver decides to do with them. Maybe you guys have seen that in the past, where the clients will say, I can do 11V, but then whenever there's 11V frames, there's cricket. It's like no one's answering them or taking into account the 11 V-frame. So sometimes I think the driver just decides to do things that, you know, differently because for XYZ reasons. So, but anyway, yeah. So in order to kind of somewhat have like a database of client data, I've actually created this tool here, clients. This one is called clients.semfio-apps.com.
Okay, let me copy that and paste it on the chat so that whoever watches.
Yeah, I'll put that in the chat.
Oh yeah, just put in the chat, and then whoever watches us later will because all these videos we will upload to the Wi-Fi of things.com. Then a lot of people, Fridays are kind of a hard time. And the reason why we do it at this time is since, as you could see, we have people from Europe and Latin America. So at the beginning, we try to do it like late afternoon on Friday, but that was like midnight or 1 in the morning in Europe. So we try to do it in the morning, but then it was too early for some people. So we try to find a time. So some people cannot come and they just watch the videos later and they will give us feedback. So, all right. So you created and why did you create this? I mean, the client capability, what prompted you to create it?
Well, the idea was to kind of have an updated version of what Mike Albano started, right? You guys remember the website for Mike? So
yeah, Mike Albano.
At the time, what Mike was doing is he was capturing association request frames, and he had a little Python script that would kind of extract the nice data and put it into his database. And then over the years, he kind of stopped, you know, doing it. He got busy with other stuff. So
and it takes time, huh? It takes time to maintain stuff like this.
Yeah, it takes time. So I'll get to that in a minute.
Okay.
But the idea was, how can we take on his work, but also make it more modern, you know, so we can have more interactions. So that was kind of like the idea. And then what we did is I asked Mike if I could just take his database, and he said yes. And then we also took devices from the Wi-Fi Alliance. So you guys know from the Wi-Fi Alliance website, you can go to the product finder. And then in the product finder, you can get information about the certified Wi-Fi devices. So, you know, not all devices are certified, but there's a list of devices that are certified, and you can get like a CSV file that gives you information about like some capabilities. They don't tell you everything, but they give you some capabilities about these devices. So
is it a CSV per client or like a CSV of all the clients they have?
It's a CSV of all the clients they have.
Okay.
Yeah, and they have different categories. You know, they have like APs, they have smartphones, they have laptops. So we only took like a subset of everything. We didn't put the APs, for instance. We just took like the client devices. But they also have things like TVs and stuff that we didn't put. But from what we got, it was like already, I think, 11,000 devices. So it's quite
oh,
large.
Wow, that's a large database.
Yeah, they have a large database. And so we took that in, and then we also added, you know, a couple of devices from our end, and then we started populating the database. And then the website is just like a front end, so we can display that information. And what we did, you know, going back to the MCS discussion is, what we did is we also, I need to just use proper credentials. We also included like the MCS data rates. So if I select like, let's say the iPhone, that's usually the one I select. What the system does is that it calculates the data rates just for that device. So because sometimes, you know, when we look at the MCS data rates, we're only interested in what one device can do. So instead of going through the table, try to figure out, you know, the spatial stream, the channel width, here you can just say, okay, you know what, I want to see the 2 spatial stream data rates for a 40 megahertz wide channel. And then it will tell you this is what the phone will be able to do. And you can kind of have a quicker idea of what to expect.
Okay.
This is good also when we talk to customer to educate them, right?
Absolutely. And this is very dynamic, and evidently there's a lot of programming behind the scenes, huh? Did you do all this yourself?
No, I didn't do all of this myself. So I have a dev that works with me now at Semfio. So he did most of the dev.
Okay.
What I did was specify what I wanted, the layout a little bit. We worked on identifying, with the database, creating the database, which capabilities are important. And then he did most of the work. No, I'm still not satisfied with this because there's still a lot of work we could do. For instance, for the data, like I think we can probably clean the data. Like if you type zebra, for instance, we have 2 zebras.
Okay.
Right? So there's some, and that's because we kind of consolidated data from different sources. So it's not perfect. And then also if I take, for instance, I don't know, I'm going to take a random one, MC20. So this one comes from the Wi-Fi Alliance, and you can see the list of capabilities we have access to is limited. Yeah,
very limited.
It's a little bit more limited.
But you know what? That's very realistic. You sometimes look at the spec sheets of some devices and say, yeah, I can do 5 gig, but it doesn't say which channels and.
Yeah. There's also like if we're thinking about the ideal world, what I would love to have is 2 things. I think I would love to be able to work with the Wi-Fi Alliance, because when they do the actual testing, they have access to a lot more data that they don't publish publicly. But if we can work with the guys in the labs who are actually doing the test, and then they can send the data to our database, and they agree to share that publicly, then we can have them feed the data, and then we could also have some sort of certified. I would love to have like a certified check coming from Zebra. So if we put like a new Zebra device, then Zebra comes and say, I certify that this data is good.
It's true and accurate, yeah.
True and accurate. Because right now, people just rely on what we put in. But if we make a mistake, then it might not be what you see in the field. And so it's not 100% perfect, but I think it can be a good start to at least start discussions. Yeah.
Have you ever been approached by, I don't know, a company or an individual that surprised you, like, oh, actually, I didn't expect you guys looking at my stuff?
No.
Like, because I'm sure this is used by all these guys that are out there doing research and development and stuff. And
yeah, the MCS, I can tell you that the MCS index table is used a lot by people who do research, PhD, engineers that worked at Broadcom, because especially when they work on new technology, like when I added Wi-Fi 7, like no one was using Wi-Fi 7 except these guys, because they were like actually coding the chipsets and everything, right? Yeah, so I can get feedback from them. So I did get some message on LinkedIn from these people, but for the client database, not yet. At WLPC, I did have chat with a couple of people that were interested in providing more data into the database. I haven't really followed up with anyone yet. But I think that's something we can, so to tell you, for this tool, we actually host it in the cloud. It's a database, and plus it's a web service. So we actually pay about $200 a month.
A month?
A month, yeah.
Holy
shit. It's not cheap, yeah.
Yeah.
So right now we're kind of financing this.
Okay.
But it would be nice.
You should add a donate button or something on your page. Do you have one?
Yeah, I should do that at one point. No, I don't have any. You can see I don't even have any branding. So I think I need to do two things. I need to put something about my business somewhere, and then I need to maybe like do a donate button.
Yeah, put something about your business, and also say, hey, this is self-funded and costs a lot of money. It would be nice, to get a donation here and there. And I'm sure I'll be one that will be willing to donate, and because this helps us a lot. So
yeah, one thing I was being a little bit reluctant about this is because I don't think it's fully,
fully done, yeah.
Fully finalized.
Well, but then I would worry about that if you were charging a fee to access it. Then people would be demanding, like, oh, it has to be perfect, I'm not going to pay. But then this is, and this is not something you just came out with now. It's been serving the community for years now. So
Yeah.
I'll just put some info about your company and yeah, add credits to it, and also just put a donate button somewhere.
Yeah, maybe we could have also like, we can be fully transparent and say, you know, this is how much it costs and this is how much people got, how much money donated. And because I don't want to make, ideally, I don't want to make money out of this. I want this to be
Yeah,
free
but I
for everyone.
I think it's only fair. You're not even getting paid for your time to do it or your developers' time to do it. At least have people contribute and pitch in to pay for the cost of this being online. This is great.
Yeah, that's exactly, that's the thing.
I would do it, man. I will do it like this weekend, and you know, like yeah.
It's in the to-do list for sure. That's one thing I think we need to do. And so one thing we did as well is we have an API to add data and to extract data. So my goal also is in the future, you know, let's say you do a Wi-Fi design with Hamina, with Ekahau. When you specify requirements, you can say my LCMI is, and then you have a drop-down menu that lets you pick into that database.
Pick the client. Yeah.
And then from the tools, they'll be able to extract all of the day rate information, you know, all of the capabilities. So then, you know, whenever they showcase the day rate for you, or whenever they calculate the throughput, then they can do it based on the data that's in the database.
Okay. That sounds great. Yes.
That would be nice to get the data out.
Absolutely, yeah.
So this one is, that's kind of like how the idea came about. And also what I wanted to do is I wanted to centralize common known information. So, you know, like sometimes when we talk to our clients about a specific device, we tell them that, you know, they have specific roaming requirements, and then we send them a link with like the support page of Samsung or whatever. So I wanted to kind of have all of that centralized also on this website. So, you know, we don't need to search for the information or search through our bookmarks. We can just go there and we know the data will be there. So and also the design requirements. I don't have it on this device, but if we can try another device. If I do actually maybe
some Apple or Cisco.
Yeah, I'm gonna let's try this one. No, this one I don't, but also I added the source so we know where the data is coming from.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Let's do Apple. I know for sure. I was trying to see if I had something else, but and that's also something that maybe we can retrieve in our design software, is like the requirements. Like if you want to do a design for an iPhone, you can follow these requirements, you know, and you'll be good. So maybe you can.
And these requirements, this is recommended by the manufacturer, correct?
Yeah. This is, you know, what the super website tells us. And then there's a link to the super website. And
okay.
It gives you those information. So.
All right, but then this is something you'd have to manually build, right? You don't have a way to just like go in and out of that document and get what you need. You just kind of like look at it, and so it's a lot of work. Yeah, it's a lot of work. So there's one thing that we have actually we had to also do is, since we let people upload data, there's like an upload data form. You can upload, like you can download a CSV file with like a specific format and then upload your own data. Since we let people do this, we need a way to validate the data. So we actually have like a validation process. Yeah. We have a validation process where someone feeds some data, we have to approve it or not. And then we also have to think about, okay, let's say Ferney sent us information about an iPhone 16, but we already have an iPhone 16. So we have to compare. It's like, what did Ferney send? What do we have? And then we have to and in the future. So you don't have 6 entries for the same device. Yeah. And in the future, ideally, because you guys know that there's like 17 versions of the iPhone 16, right? There's, depending on the country, it might be different. So actually, I learned that from James from Apple at WLPC. James Garinger. Yeah, James Garinger. It's like, how are you going to deal with that? I'm like, you're adding to my plate. But ideally, in the future, it would be nice to, for a client, also specify the country, and then you would have like a
device for that specific country that might be different than, you know, the iPhone that you have configured for the US versus, you know, UK, for instance. Yeah. So
yeah, I hadn't thought about that.
when you start drilling into it, there's a lot of complexity. So yeah.
So you could have six versions of the same device, just different variations of the device.
Yeah. So this is when you think about it, is how do you structure that in the database?
This is almost a full-time job, Francois.
No, it's not a full-time job, but it's a little bit of thinking. Yeah. Yeah, my dev is doing most of the development. Like, he's doing the hard job, and I do pay for him to do this, but
yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Somebody's gotta pay for it. So yeah, absolutely, man. I'll just put that donate button like this afternoon. Forget about the weekend. We'll be contributing. Like, I'll be pushing it out and promoting it, man, because you've done a lot for the community. And I know you got what was the content creator? Were you the first one who got that award?
oh yes,
Like,
yes, you're
content
right.
creator, yeah.
Actually, right there, behind me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
they should give you one every year, because you just keep creating and improving things, making things easier for everybody in the community. So thank you very much.
no problem. It's not fair.
So what's next then?
Okay, what's next? So the MCS table, really good. I like it. I actually really like the colors. It makes it easier for us to find stuff, but it's a static document. It's actually a Google Sheet behind it. So my idea was, how can we make this dynamic, right? What if you only care about Wi-Fi 6, or what if you only care about Wi-Fi 7, right? There's no way today you have to vertically scroll today, which sometimes is a pain. So what I did is I started to work on a new version. So this is very draft. This is alpha version. But I was thinking of maybe I can have like some sort of dynamic filters, and based on the filters, it will show me a subset of the table. Right. So let's say you're doing a new design for like Wi-Fi 7. You can just pick BE. If you know your clients would be 2 spatial stream, you can select 2 spatial streams. And then you could even specify specific MCS indexes if you wanted modulations. And then you could, if you know that you're going to do like an 80 megahertz wide channel, let's say on 6 gigahertz, you can select that, and then it will tell you the data rates that you can expect to get with the different indexes.
This is great.
Yeah. So this is like more of a dynamic version of the. I don't think I want to replace the MCS index, because people are used to the table.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
But I just want to add on to it with something a bit more dynamic.
But I think inside the same table, just have like a basic mode and advanced mode, and then the basic just shows you a table, and advanced just gives you this menu to start shrinking it down based on technology and stuff. Because those who understand this then will know exactly what filters to apply and narrow it down.
And that's why I kept it very technical. It's because I was like, what if you want to see a specific MCS index or whatnot? Actually, I don't know if it works. Yeah, it works. Okay.
It works. And I'll tell you what, there was a case, I don't remember exactly, Francois, maybe you remember, but somebody posted something about a client that was advertising, say like, hey, I'm doing MCS, I don't know, let's just give a weird example, MCS 17 or something like that. It was a weird data rate. And then when people drill into like, wait, that data rate is not possible under any combination of anything. And it was a device that was advertising that. Do you remember anything about that?
No.
So somebody posted, and they had like screenshots of the pickup that showed the device. I don't know, let's just say it was doing 135 megabits per second. Yeah. And then there was like no 125 megabits per second anywhere on the table. Something like that. In those lines, David, you remember? Was it you?
No, it wasn't me. But I actually, my previous question was because of that, because I was confused. The same as let me put my the link here, because it's somebody who put this blog, and I I was envious of the blog. Like, I wish I could do a troubleshooting like that and find something.
Do you
like
want to
this.
bring that on your
But-
screen, Francois? Since you're sharing, just click on
okay.
Yeah, I'm
on
just
the-
trying to find my Zoom little thing. Can you, Bernie, can you kick my, can you stop my sharing for me?
Yes, hang on.
Thank you. You're gonna save me.
Okay.
Okay,
Well,
cool.
maybe
Yes, that's
it's
fine.
not it's not correct
let
what
me-
where I'm sharing. Or do you want to share
Here,
it?
let me share my screen. Oh yeah, you can share yours if you want, David.
Up to you. Well, but
Go for
basically,
it, go
yeah.
for it.
I don't know if it is exactly the same. Let me see. Is this okay?
I
Here.
can share. Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah, sure, perfect. That works.
I don't. Okay. Is so okay. So you're sharing. So this is what I thought actually, but according what you mentioned here. So basically, those values, but this is
Oh,
yeah,
yes.
it's
Okay.
AC.
Yes.
And it was open even a bag. I was watching that bag at the moment
Yes.
and everything. But yeah.
So if
okay.
it's, I think you may be able to achieve these if it's not AC. So do we know if it was an AC communication?
Yeah, it is. I see,
Okay.
I think.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I would have to
So-
rewatch the Jones video.
Yeah, and then there was another posting similar to this, kind of in these lines, that the client in the packet capture showed that the MCS, not the MCS itself, but the actual data rate was like a number that was nowhere in the table. It was just an odd number that is like, wait, this doesn't fit into any combination number. So, which it kind of like goes in line with, that clients may lie or be wrong about certain things that they advertise or
Well,
their
sometimes it might also be that they don't go by the standards, because
Okay.
if you change any of the variables, so let's say instead of using like 48 data subcarriers, they only use 40, then the data rate will be different. And maybe some clients might do this. I don't know.
Okay.
But that's what I'm
So-
thinking. Like,
So in Wi-Fi 7 with preamble puncturing and the fact that you might have 160 megahertz wide channel, but only be using 3 of the 20s, right?
yeah.
Because the other one has interference. So
Yeah, for this one, it's if you go in the MCS table and you look at the full MCS table, you have those it would be the same principle as what they call the multi-RUs. So you can figure out the data rates looking at the multi-RUs. You'll just have to, so if it's like a 20 megahertz and like a 40, yes. So 20 and a 40, it would have to be 242 plus 240, 244.
but then you never know what it's
444.
going to be, right? You never know what it's going to be, because I mean, I assume it will advertise what it's at, what it's doing.
Yeah, it will. So if you do a packet capture, I'm guessing you will get the data rates that it's using. So it should line up in those, like this one would be a 40 plus a 20. So if
Okay.
it's punctured on, let's say you have an 80 and it's puncturing the second 20, then you should
Yeah.
have a 20 and a 40.
Okay.
So then it should end up in these data rates.
And I'm sure that's just per transmission. So it's going to be using all 80 or just 60 of them or just 40 of them, or you never know, right? It's going to be.
Yes, you might have different combinations. But for each frame, it's going to be using a specific data rate. So if you look at frame by frame, you should be able to figure it out. Yeah.
It keeps getting more
it's,
complicated, huh?
It's a lot more complicated. I don't know. Have you guys done deployment Wi-Fi 7 in the field?
Oh, hey, Orozco, Francisco.
I do.
Cisco Live guy. You did it last week. I mean, a couple weeks ago, right?
Yep, last week actually. We've been working for that for a couple
What can you,
weeks.
I mean, I know you're going to present next week about it, but what can you tell us about Wi-Fi 7 during Cisco Live 2025 then?
You know, I think besides all this great information that Francois is giving us here, I have a ton of packet captures, right, to look at to try to understand what is the behavior of those clients. But
Yeah.
something that really caught my attention here is on your tool, like you have like the different iPhone like 16, really caught my attention the different multi-link
Modes.
type that they can do, right? This is
Yeah.
something that I've been battling because the infrastructure can do like,
Yeah.
single link or multi-link, and we have
Yeah.
different type of multi-link operation things that we can use there. So I really like the way that you display that, at least from an iPhone standpoint, and I'm sure if it's there is because you have some data to prove that the device was using like enhanced multi-link single radio or enhanced
Yeah.
multi-link multiple radio. So this is something I'm gonna bring up what I see from the infrastructure side, and especially some iPhone 16 Max Pro and some Android devices. So I guess back to your question, Fernay, what I saw, I guess from a very everybody will notice that in terms of throughput, right? Like the MCS rates here that we got with Wi-Fi 7, right? We're getting more with 4K QAM. So from a MCS data rate 5 standpoint, like we go to the next level, which is translated, that this information here is theoretical, right? But I think it's a really good point of reference to like if a customer that all the time are saying, hey, what is the amount of throughput I can get with 20, 40, or 80 megahertz if I have these MCS rate / SNR, right? This is a good point of reference to say, hey, if I have these, theoretically, right, your real throughput will be probably 50 or 60% that amount of data, right? If these conditions are met. So I think this is good, and that's what we pretty much saw with Wi-Fi 7. We got pretty much close to a gig from a speed test, really a speed test, not a curve B3 in our data center, but pretty much with an iPhone 16 Pro, we were close to a gig.
Do you see any clients connected using 4K QAM?
We saw a couple of them, especially, they were 802.11be, Wi-Fi 7, I will say probably were MCS. Can remember, probably 9 or 10.
You can go up to 13. Yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly.
exactly.
High, right?
But that obviously that was very close to the AP. Like 4K QAM, you gotta be really close to the APs, right? So you gotta have
Hey, Francois,
a really good SNR to
Francois,
see that.
what's the?
So I have a ton of data that I need.
Francois, what's the BPSK DCM 14 and 15 for EHT?
You have to watch my presentation from WLPC Prague last year. Yeah, this is, and you notice these ones are not inside the real MCS design. Yeah, because these ones were added for different purposes. The main idea behind here, behind these modulation, is to make it more robust. So it's not about the data rates. It's going to give you lower data rates, as you can see. But they wanted to kind of expand the range of the Wi-Fi cell, especially in single AP deployment. So think about a house. They wanted to be able to expand the cell of the Wi-Fi if you have some IoT devices in your garage or whatever. They wanted to be able to kind of still be connected with lower speeds, lower modulation. They have more redundancy in there. They reuse they send the same information on different bits to
more resilience,
make it more robust. So you can think about like a redundant BPSK modulation to make it more robust and expand a little bit the cell edge of your single AP deployment.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not something we'll see in the enterprise space. Yeah, but I talked about it in a bit more details in last year in Prague. Going back to Francisco and what he was saying, I think, Francisco, if you have Wi-Fi 7 packet captures, you should just filter them based on the data rates and then look at the data rates you get and see if you can find them here and see if you see any like preamble punctured data rates. That would be interesting to see if devices are using that.
Yeah, sort of. We'll take a look on this now that I have, like, you remind me about these simplification that you have. So yeah, definitely I'll take a look, and hopefully I can expand more next Friday on pretty much my findings and that I
can't wait, man. I can't wait for that report on that. That'll be really cool.
Were you guys using 80s on 6 gigahertz?
Yeah, pretty much was 80 LPI.
So if you get like the maximum on the 2-device spatial stream, you get up to 1.4 gig. So, and then you said throughput test, you got like 900 something?
Yeah, around 900. Yeah, almost.
Which kind of makes sense. Yeah. Which is pretty much the max you'll be able to do.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Impressive. Okay. So if you sort by data rates, the highest to the lowest, at the top, you should see some of those 1441. If you captured 4.4K traffic. How did you do your Wi-Fi 7 packet capture? Using an AP?
No, actually, I use the WLPC M4 Plus.
With the Wi-Fi 7 NIC?
No, it has the M4 Plus already has a Wi-Fi 7 a NIC chipset already. It's BE 200.
The 200.
Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I use that for captures. So you know what? I'll take a look right now.
What software do you use? AirTool or straight into Wireshark, or how did you bring it in?
Yeah, I fire up the WLPC for M4 Plus, and I use the AirTool for that. So that's pretty much where I capture all the 802.11be traffic.
Okay. Oh, like to see that. Okay.
Can you do packet capture from a Cisco AP like as easily as you can do from a Mist AP these days?
Francisco?
Is it a good question?
Sorry, I was double mute. Yes, we can do that. We can put the AP in sniffer mode and get all that in 802.11be information from the AP.
So you have to put it in the sniffer mode.
Yes, you can. I mean, once you claim it as, catalyst mode, especially because when it's Meraki, you barely have the ability, right, to dig into the AP or console into and change the mode. I think you can, but I believe catalyst mode, you will be able to have it as a sniffer mode. But I did not do that during Cisco Live. I pretty much, for convenience, use my WLAN-PI and, fire up AirTool and, get all the
Yeah.
And Francisco, and the packet capture done via Catalyst Center on the AP without putting the AP in sniffer mode. What is the difference with the sniffer mode? Because I've done those captures and I cannot see beacons. I think I cannot see. I can see many of the packets, but not all of them. I can see association, I can see authentication, I can see probe response, but no beacons, for example. And I don't know, there was a subset of packets or frames that I was not able to capture. I don't know exactly what's the difference in that mode.
Yeah, that's a really good question, and I don't want, François thunder here about that, and I can expand more. But yeah, essentially with Catalyst Center, it's an ICAP, right? Intelligent capture, where you can leverage the, in this case, the Clean Air Pro radio as well as the client radio to get that packet capture. The difference is that you don't get exactly a promiscuous packet capture with using ICAP. This is a slightly different thing. That's why you're not able to see certain frames capture when you use ICAP versus like a full sniffer mode or using a third-party thing to do packet captures. That's essentially the difference, that you cannot do a promiscuous packet capture with ICAP.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, we're getting at the top, almost at the top of the hour. François?
Yeah. I mean, I think I said everything I wanted to. If you guys have feedback on the little tool, I'm going to send you the URL so you guys can play with that whenever I get to. You can stop my share again, Fernie.
Okay, let me.
I feel like I've never used Zoom before. It's not the case. But... Thank you. Yeah, if you guys want to send me your ideas, I'll probably, over the summer I'm going to take some time off. If I feel like I have some motivation, I'll probably work on that a little bit. So if you have some ideas, just let me know, and then maybe I can have one thing I want to bring back is the colors. I think the colors, I've gotten used to the colors. So if I
Yeah.
can find a ways to bring them back, I think it would be nice.
And the order of the guard interval, because I see that sometimes
Yeah, the order of the
I
guard
like in the
intervals
new
have to
new
match.
version for the Wi-Fi 7. I see that is in the way that I understand it better.
Yeah,
But
the fastest speed all the way on the right, which makes sense. Yeah, it goes
and
like
also,
crescendo.
and you have it backwards again in the client's file as
Yes,
well.
you're right. We need to fix that.
Sorry,
Yes.
I mean, yeah, it's everything is great. It's like it's very easy to critique, and it's not easy and it's a lot harder to create. And thank you for all that. But yeah, it's something that I notice.
Yeah, that's how we make it better. It's by you guys telling me so. Yes, I know. I noticed that as well. That is back to reversed. That's how the math is done. That's why it's that way. But we need to swap it. But yeah, well, thank you for your time. It was nice to.
No, thank you for your time. I mean, you've done, yeah, you've done so much for the community, man, that I appreciate that very much. And it's just hard to find, good, accurate information. We use this in classes, in training, and showing it to customers and in troubleshooting, because the MCS table is not just to tell you what the device is capable of. When you're doing a packet capture on a client or on a transmission, and then you look at the MCS, now just by looking at the data rate, you can break it down, go back to a table and say, okay, what's 135? And you say like, oh, that is 2 spatial streams, 40 megahertz wide channel, MCS index of 8, and then you look at it backwards. You don't start looking at the modulation and the coding schemes, you look at the data rate, and then from the data rate, you know at what modulation the client is going or the transmission is happening, and now you can identify that, hey, wait a minute, if this client is a device that can do, MCS of 11 and it's only going at MCS 0, 1, or 3 or 4, then why? Is it too far from the AP? Is the AP mounted wrong perhaps? And then it cannot demodulate what it's sending and it's retrying. So there are a lot of things that we can do with these MCS tables that François has put together for us. So
there's one thing I should mention too is the mcsindex.net. There's also mcs.com, mcsindex.com and mcsindex.net. So mcsindex.com is owned by Mike Albano. So
okay.
Mike is back in the, so back in the day he used to have it, and then whenever we had updates, I used to kind of send him the update, and then he would update his website. But he hasn't updated the Wi-Fi 7 yet. And mcsindex.net, this one is hosted by Sean Bender, and he just got the data rate and is hosting it. He's never asked any money for it. So he's been hosting it on his AWS for years now. And what he does is he just publishes my Google Sheet. So I can modify my Google Sheet. I don't even have to talk to him, and poof, it gets updated on the public website. So as long as he pays for it, we're good.
Good point. So one is Albanos, the other one is Vendors, huh?
Yeah, these guys have been helping us. Yeah,
sweet.
No one knows about Bender, like people. And Bender is a little bit of a crazy one, so people are like, "What?"
Oh no, he's not a little bit crazy. He's crazy, like full on.
He's loco.
Yeah, está loco.
Loco.
Le fou, right?
Yeah, but he's very helpful. Actually, he is the one who came to me, I think. I forgot back in the days, I forgot how it worked, but he's like, I have this domain name, I can do that for you. And then I was like, okay, let's do this.
Yeah. Community work at its best. Well, thank you very much. I'm serious, man. Add the donate button there. At least we'll try to, pitch in and contribute to your expenses. Somebody's got to pay for all of these, so.
Yeah, maybe one day I can get vendors to pay for it as well, like sponsor. They put their logo on the page, and then.
Oh, he's got the money. You just need a few sponsors that will do that.
And if you can get one vendor, then the other ones can fight to be on there too. So Francisco, just talk to you guys.
We'll help you. We'll pitch in.
Definitely.
All right, François, thank you very much. Appreciate it. Francisco, I'm really looking forward to the Cisco Live report next week and the presentation, and
Yeah.
And I'm
Absolutely.
sure we all gonna have a lot of questions about, all this high density stuff. And coming back from Canada, François, sorry we couldn't meet, man. It was just, how those events go. You're like,
Yeah.
you're there for one day, and we were working sometimes 16, 20-hour days just because there's like a small window to get things in and configure, and you have to work with the cabling guys and the construct and the unions, because that's one of the things in these big jobs is that, like, I was gonna mount APs on the beams, and they said like, oh no, you cannot touch the pillars. That's another union, and we haven't. Okay, how about we put the cables there? Like, oh, the cabling union, that's another group of people that run the cables. Like, we could put the APs in a location, but we couldn't run the cable to it. Like, wait, what? Like, oh yeah, no, we cannot touch it. It has, tell me where you want it, and then we'll let the union guys know. And all they had to do is just plug it in, tape it, and plug it in. Really? I could have done that. I know, but it's a union thing.
Did you do a debrief session with the Tesos group about your experience over there, or?
We've been doing a couple of them. I haven't done a full-on one because I'm still doing some stuff with the venue and with the vendor and with the contractors. So I don't want to make anything public. And of course, it's always the thing that you're working with a vendor and you don't want to say something that looks negative towards the vendor, but it's a reality that we as professionals have to share with each other. So in this, we a lot of times just pause the recording and then talk about those things, okay? Just to help each other and say, hey, you know what? This didn't work, but so it doesn't look like we're trashing the brand. It's just like, this doesn't work. So if you have to do a deployment, just make sure that X, Y, and Z is checked before you do it. And then, but Ubiquity, they have been really good to work with because they were on site. They had a couple guys on site, Tom and Cody. They were there and then helping with stuff that came up. They said, oh yeah, let me just have a developer, change that and then apply a firmware upgrade. But then it's just, and they've been really good in admitting, hey, RRM is not working. We're, working on improving it. So now a lot, when RRM is not working, Francisco can probably understand this very, very well because it just comes from Cisco Live. Then if you don't have RRM working, what do you have to do? Well, manually configure channels and power levels and all of this stuff. So they're improving, and Ubiquity is making a footprint in the enterprise, and this was, I think, a great learning experience for them in a lot of aspects, especially being on site, because they saw and they had to do, like, sometimes we ask for help on something like, oh yeah, we're gonna have to do that manually. All right. And then we'll be there till late at night configuring things manually, and they were helping. Because either you script things or you manually go and every single one and do it. So
well, it's interesting. I would love to have your feedback on that. We actually, for that venue, so just so you guys know, that venue is one of our customers as well. And so we're actually in the process of redesigning and installing 6 gigahertz, and we're eyeing the new Cisco, the 9179F that they came up with. And so we might it's probably what we'll do over there, but we might install those Cisco new 6 gigahertz APs.
And you know what? I have a survey of the facility before it was turned off, because one thing we requested was, since they wanted to do a Ubiquity everywhere, we needed to disable the infrastructure, the local.
Oh yeah, they told me you found some APs, old APs, right, that were not disabled.
Oh yeah, there were some really old ones there, and but then it was good working with the venue guys too, Jonathan and all those other guys. But I have a survey was done with Cedos, and we can talk offline and get your feedback on this, and also share that with you, because I might have some valuable information also you can use.
I'm actually going there. I'm going there tomorrow. They have a Salesforce event next Tuesday, so we're getting ready for that. It's a small, it's only it's 2 holes. It's half of the AnyCare center. But
this one for these guys was like the entire thing, whole A, C, and D, and whole F, and the Heritage Center. The only thing we didn't use was the football, the hockey arena, the Coca-Cola Center, or whatever it's called.
Yeah, they don't use that often.
Yeah. So
That's cool.
yeah, it was a great event, and we had a great time there. As all events, it's just stressful because, as Raymond Henriks once told me, like, you only have one shot at it. There's not like a business. You can, we'll tweak it and twist it and come back and do it, modify, and then come back the following week. Like, no, this one is like, this is it. Then
sometimes you have to modify things during the event. You don't have any.
Yeah. Not everybody's a big. I mean, that's not something you want to do.
The first, maybe I'll come back one day and talk about the first experience I had in that venue, which was something. I could talk about it for an hour.
All right, that would be great. That would be great, because we've talked about the this event just like from the planning and logistics, and a little bit about the outcome and the challenges that we faced in it. But yeah, I mean, there's a great learning space that we can just share and talk about stuff. And again, more often than not, we have to pause the recordings and then talk as we would talk often. So,
and then you have to entertain David in his Friday evening, right? You can't go party, right?
Hey, where's your guitar? He always has a guitar.
He probably eats dinner at like 10 p.m. anyway, right? So
in Spain, yeah, that's too early, like 10:30 or 11.
Yeah.
That's anyway, the time in Spain for dinner, yeah.
Yeah, it's not yet, right? It's too hot.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what we did.
I used to go to Spain when I was a kid. My grandmother brother had a house we would share with my cousins. So they would close everything in the afternoon, reopen everything at 4 p.m. and then some places they close like 1 to 4 or 2 to 5, and then at 5 is when things start like waking up again for lunch. We would also have to go to the beach like early in the morning, because they would have the jellyfish. How do you call the jellyfish in Spanish?
Medusas. Medusas.
Oh, jellyfish, aguamalas, ¿no? Aguamalas le llamamos. Those sting you.
Yeah, they would come up like, and you see like tons of them, in the water when the water was warm. So you couldn't go to the sea in the afternoon. So we would have to go early in the morning.
Ruben is also from Spain. What part of Spain are you from, Ruben?
Valencia.
Valencia.
Okay. Valencia. So it's not too far. I used to go to Altea. You guys know what that is, right?
Where's that at?
I know the place, Altea. It's in Alicante.
Yeah.
In Alicante. Sweet.
It's close to Benidorm and all of these places.
Yeah. I've been to Benidorm.
Yeah, it's nice. It's south of Valencia, right?
Very south, yeah.
Yeah.
It's past Murcia, isn't it?
It's between Valencia and Murcia.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we used to drive down from France and go down Barcelona. It would take us like a day of driving. And
good old days, huh? I remember with cousins and stuff in Colombia. Those are like the best memories. You were a kid.
My dad used to do windsurfing, so he would put like we had a small car. He would put the surfboard on the car, and that was fun.
That'll be fun. Do you have any siblings, François?
Yeah, I have 2 younger brothers and 1 older sister.
Oh.
Yeah, they live. My sister lives in Vienna, in Austria. And my brothers, they're still in my hometown in Dijon, in France. They're still over there. Yeah.
So what language do you speak? So in Canada, you're in Ontario?
Yeah, I live in Ontario. So
do you use French all the time?
Yeah, I speak French with my kids.
Okay.
And they go to French school. So we speak French at home for the most part.
How many kids?
I have 2 kids.
2 kids.
Yeah.
And your wife's from Canada?
My wife, she was actually born in Jamaica, and she moved to Canada when she was 8 years old.
Okay.
Yeah, so she's been here for a long time. So yeah, she speaks English, and she had to learn French.
She speaks. I'm sure she spoke Jamaican English when I was in Jamaica for a job.
Yeah,
it was.
patois.
Yeah, it's a different type of English. Yeah, man.
Good luck understanding them.
Yeah, man.
It gets complicated.
So yeah, on my end, I had to learn the patois because in her family, that's what they speak. So I understand it now. It's fine. Yeah. When I go to Jamaica, I can be like, I can talk to if I talk not for too long, I can be like, I understand what you're saying. And they're like, what? What man, you speak Jamaican?
I was gonna say one word, but I'm not sure if it should be recorded.
Yeah, don't.
Yeah, we don't allow bad words in my house, Chris.
No. Oh, well, François, mcsindex.com.net, that's what we talked about today. This is session 265 of Tesos and Wi-Fi. Today is Friday, June 20th. Holy smokes.
It's Wi-Fi day today.
Is it?
Wi-Fi.
I did not know that.
Actually, it is. Yeah.
El día del Wi-Fi, el Wi-Fi, how they call it in Spain. Wi-Fi. They call it Wi-Fi in France too?
Yeah, Wi-Fi.
Wi-Fi.
Sí.
What's the problem of...
Y el mejor de todos es, ¿dónde está el cable de Wi-Fi para conectarme?
El cable del Wi-Fi. No, wasn't there a comedian in Spain that said like, wait, they call it Wi-Fi in South America, in Africa, but why do we call it Wi-Fi? Like, well, that's kind of, it's spelled out, but. All right, ya saben, se les quiere gratis. We'll see you next week, Friday. Francisco is gonna talk to us about Cisco Live. And remember, WLPC Valencia is coming up September 12, 13, and 14 is going to be a boot camp. We don't know still yet, and what it's going to be about. And hey, François, this WLPC, no presentations. Well, there's going to be like 5 presentations, and then it's going to be all short deep dives.
Okay.
So it's gonna be do it a little bit differently. We usually do what people want, and people want just nothing but training and learning and.
Okay.
No presentation, so we're gonna see how it goes. I'm really excited to it. This is like last minute thing. Look, like we're preparing for WLPC Prague for 2 months already. We're preparing for WLPC Valencia that is in 2 months.
Yeah, I'm sure. So it will be like a big workshop type of thing.
It's kind of, but we're gonna have what I'm gonna do with the Wi-Fi 7 stuff. That's why we need to learn and talk about stuff. Is instead of doing it at night, because at night is when we go out and have cañitas, some beers here, and have dinner and go, walk to the beach and get in the water. Then I'll probably use 3 hours of the day instead of it's gonna be a deep dive of Wi-Fi 7. So hopefully I'm going to try to bring APs to give to everybody. I didn't say that I'm going to give APs to everybody.
It's recorded anyway.
Oh, man. So yeah, the attendees will most likely get some flavor of Wi-Fi 7 APs, and we want to do a session where we will have a testing environment ready. Not kind of like the Wi-Fi 7 night events we've had in WLPC, where it's like, yeah, bring whatever you have, and hey, what do you guys have? Like, what do you mean, what do you have? Like, what do you have for us that you put this together? So we're going to try to have something more prepared. I have a Ubiquiti with 10 gig ports, and we're going to have a server to push speeds and stuff, and then just have basically a couple of cables ready for any vendor, Ruckus to bring 2 Wi-Fi 7 APs, or Aruba, or Cisco, or Ubiquiti, and then do some testing. But between now and then, we're going to have to get familiar with the packet captures and analyzing and kind of seeing who's connected at what and on what bands and what modes and stuff. So that's another thing we're going to do in Prague as well. So hopefully we build that lab prior to Spain. We use it in Spain, and then we use it in Prague in a more ready environment. So vendors just bring their stuff, plug it in, and then we have Wi-Fi 7 clients connect and push data and see what we get. But I want to analyze not only the air, but also the wired interfaces to see exactly what you're pushing through there.
Yeah, I think people would be interested to know what's the actual throughput on your Ethernet cable.
Oh, I've been trying to do that test for a while, but I just haven't made time because I'm working on some other really
nice
projects.
What is that? It's like a drone, fancy drone?
Yeah, but not just the drone. I'll show you. Here, let me. Okay, let's see.
I don't know if you can use a drone in Spain.
Oh, I don't know. I'm not probably gonna bring it to Spain. This one's actually going to Ecuador.
Oh,
I found a project here. Hang on 1 second. Let me. All right, let me just do this. Let me just give me 1 second. Well, you know, flying drones has its challenges. Let me. Okay.
I actually thought that Francois was in France.
sometimes I'm gonna be next month. Next month I'm spending my month in France. Yeah.
Hey, don't you have a Waiko coming up in France?
Yeah, in Bordeaux. Yeah, in on the 3rd of July.
Okay.
Yeah, and then me and my wife we bought a place in France a couple of years ago. So when the kids are off school, we try to go over there.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah. So.
Okay, let's do this. I'm gonna stop the recording. We're gonna just say goodbye to everybody. Los que vinieron y están aquí bien. I'm gonna show you guys something that won't be recorded. So have a nice week. Thanks for coming.
You're not here. See you.
Yeah, we're not here. Goodbye. Too bad you're not here. Goodbye. Nos vemos la próxima semana, ya saben, se les quiere gratis. Ahí estamos en contacto. A Francisco Orozco viene la próxima semana a hablarnos de Cisco Live. Chao.